Kingsman: The Golden Circle really is impossibly cool, and its director Matthew Vaughn really can take almost all of the credit for that. He, with this film, as well as X-Men First Class, Kick-Ass, and Layer Cake, has just proven time and again that he can consistently put together a fantastically fun action sequence. His ability to flawlessly transition from one dynamic shot to the next, crafting these action beats with this apparent effortlessness, that alone makes him a very impressive filmmaker. And in Kingsman 2 in particular, especially in the first half of the film, he consistently crafted these action sequences that were not only a wonder for me, the viewer, to watch, but confounding for me, the filmmaker, to watch. Time and again, I was just left to sit there and wonder, how did he do that? And Vaughn's love of really showing off in the way he stitched together these elaborate shots extended as well to the transitions from one beat to another, one scene to another, and one sequence to another, which visually pulled me through this film in an extremely stylish as well as seamless way. Vaughn never once missed a chance to show off his command of the frame. He also rather boldly transitioned from a number of different tones throughout this film, action obviously, as well as really ridiculous comedy, heartfelt drama, and romance. And I will say, there were numerous moments that I felt that those different tones did land quite competently. And even when they didn't, they were so brazen in their presentation, I couldn't help but at least admire them, if only just a little. And even as she was clearly just trying to compete with the quirkiness of Samuel L. Jackson's villain from film 1, Julianne Moore's very motherly approach to her character did often make me chuckle, and the whole of the Golden Circle, in fact, really did tell us that we weren't meant to take what was happening all that seriously. We were just supposed to have fun with it. As an example, there was a car chase earlier on in the film which, tonally and in its action choreography, really wasn't all that different from something that we might have found in the Wachowskis' Speed Racer. And also similar to that film, much of the CG in this film was also not all that photoreal. However, it was consistent in its aesthetic and did connect to that, again, lighter tone. Unfortunately, after about 20 minutes of this film, which had already served up a handful of action sequences, quirky villains, and new and old character dynamics, I was forced to watch those same elements over and over and over. The film really able to offer anything all that new, even as it did attempt to desperately up the ante, increase the stakes, heighten the drama, and accelerate the action. It just seemed unable to serve anything all that fresh. Instead, it just circled the same number of action beats and the same handful of narrative developments that we've seen hundreds of times in films of the same genre, and even more annoyingly, in this franchise's film 1. All the new Statesman characters, for example, after getting fairly intriguing introductions, ultimately turned out to be more of the same. Their action sequences shot identically to those of the Kingsmen. And as fun as the humor was initially, later on it just developed into these really long, drawn-out setups for these very unsurprising punchlines, especially during Julianne Moore's oh-so-quirky storyline. I just found myself constantly disengaging from what was on screen. There was just so much time invested in being unique and surprising that ultimately things just came off as dull and unoriginal. Even the cool transitions began to lose their effectiveness as the film wore on. For me, though, the biggest issue with both Kingsman films was actually just the way that Matthew Vaughn's visual and tonal decisions were incongruent to his narrative decisions. As I already explained, this film carried with it much less weightiness because of its lighter tone, which, on its own, is fine. But when you pair that tone with the kind of graphic violence and vulgarity found in these films, those weighty elements begin to feel almost inconsequential and harmless. Was I meant to find an exploding bloody head cool, or a snapped spine exciting? Now, let me say there can indeed be something almost attractive and even cool about evil. The character of the Joker from Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight is a prime example of this. That character's charisma and energy was almost intoxicating, as evil often is. But also we, the viewer, were made to know and feel that he was evil. With the Kingsman films, however, a different feeling was elected during the scenes of shocking violence and inappropriate sexuality. Narratively, they were supposed to be horrific and repulsive, but visually, Vaughn was making them cool and attractive. And for all these reasons, I will give the film a 2 out of 5. I would still love to know what you guys thought of the film, though, so definitely comment below and let me know. And I'm also curious, what is presently your favorite Matthew Vaughn film? I think for me, it's probably X-Men First Class. And finally, please do subscribe. I'm going to continue to review films and television on this channel, and I would love for you to stay up to date on all of those things. But for now, I'm Chris Hartwell. This is The Heartbeat. Thank you for joining me.